remove because you've got this big staying power of triple tank. You've got the anti-tank set up with the Reaper being able to essentially walk through the tank line, onto the back, kill them from behind, completely shut down the attack before it could even begin. Kind of question marks around that. Is Singularity, you would say, no offense to the guys, probably aren't as together as what this Orgless and Hungry lineup is looking like. These guys are on fire. Both teams have gone 4-0 in their last 2 games. So both of them are on form. Both of them are going to have to try and undo each other, and it's going to be a game of small margins.
I couldn't have predicted, well, I could have predicted this. This is exactly how I thought it was going to go down. Triple tank with the Junkrat for Orgless and Hungry. Quad tank for supposedly the best quad tank team in Europe. Can it be shut down by the triple tank composition coming out from Orgless Hungry as they're already skirmishing on the capture point? Yeah,
I'd like to see the Reaper maybe from Oni or change over to Junkrat immediately. There's a big grab onto the Zarya though. Nothing too big being forced out just yet. More posturing for both teams. But over time it will feel with that Junkrat, you will start seeing the advantage come to Orgless, and Angry Titans will strike hard and fast.
Yeah, Angry Titans have the positional advantage at the moment, and it's forcing Orgless and Hungry to be aggressive and push on. They're deciding to concede the first capture over to the Titans, and now they're looking for the counter-attack with an advantage. But Lolsish, Urki, they're shutting things down with a kill. The Riptide comes in unsuccessfully for Only God to shut down himself, and Shax just frontlining because he's the only one left. Angry Titans are going to full hold this point so far.
So generally when you're playing quad tank, it's a very slow style comp. You could argue the same about the triple tank, but on the side of Orgless and Hungry, they were riding on that tire, and before the tire could even get towards the backline and try and bring down a couple of tanks, or even better, a support, problem was it had been destroyed by Only God. Angry Titans had picked up a couple of kills. It was already going their way, so it was more of a last resort style play, including this.
Graviton Surge, in comes the shield. Perfect use of protection coming out from the Velocity to stop anyone going down, as Tonic will fall to the aggression of Angry Titans. They follow up on the Graviton Surge and wipe Orgless and Hungry.
Very clean stuff coming out of these guys so far. Angry Titans showing us why. Maybe week 1 where they lost 3-2 to Disband, that should have been a game they won. And second week where they lost to British Hurricane, that too was a 3-2 and could have been a win. You're looking at a team here who is literally 2 rounds away from being a 4-0 team in the whole of the group stage. So it's no surprise these guys are showing up so far. Question is, what do Orgless and Hungry do in response?
Coalescence to kick things off from Angry Titans. They're shutting down the alternate route from Orgless and Hungry. Rather than forcing main, they go around to the side. Molsish getting in the face of Tonic. Graviton Surge coming out from Orgless, putting it down. They try to interrupt it. Excellent shatter to shut down the charge from Tonic and keeps everyone alive. Now, here comes a Riptire onto A-Fox, going to take him out. Elivo takes down the immobile Shax while this is going on. Now with the D-Mech out, he's going to keep peppering the shots. Orgless and Hungry, they kind of have the man advantage, but not enough to get the point just yet, as Angry Titans still have control.
They will be able to secure the point here, and that was the best case scenario for a Shax tire. Okay, maybe you'd argue the best case scenario is the 6-man wipe with 1 tire. But in this case, bringing down A-Fox is essentially the same thing. You remove all of their burst healing coming out of the Moira, you deny them any kind of staying power, and that is what Quad Tank is good at, moving into a location and not being moved thanks to all the shields, all the health that you have, as well as the crazy healing coming out of A-Fox. When one of those 2 components disappear, the team will fall apart and will be forced to retreat. However, they have that big combo available once again with the Graviton and the self-destruct.
And what a time to come in. They only really need to get 1 clean wipe to take the victory on this round. 96% is what they're at. Graviton Surge coming in. Earth Shatter doesn't cancel anything. The self-destruct finds a triple behind the lineup of Angry Titans, and they're going to roll over onto the point. And 96%, this is surely the round for the Titans.
We've seen this a couple of times over the last weeks. In fact, between Giganti and Hurricane last week, it was always the question of, was the Reinhardt shield close enough to be able to protect his members? Answer in this case is a big fat no. 3 members being picked off by that combination is exactly what they needed to win it back. And you've got to say, Angry Titans looking a lot more together than the Orgless and Hungry are so far.
It's kind of expected with the roster change coming in. Emil obviously subbing in for Finzi. Wish him all the best in the Overwatch League, but we're about contenders, and this is where it matters for us. Can Emil blend in with this team in absence of Finzi? And like you said, Des, they're not seeming as together as the Titans are, so it's not as apparent as we'd like it to be.
It's not even so much the together element as much as the way the Angry Titans are playing around this Junkrat. They know the threat that it provides, and they just always seem to have an answer. They slipped up once, and once is all it took with losing A-Fox. We saw between, again, Hurricane and Giganti last week, it was a game of small margins, and this one will turn out exactly the same. Real question we all asked before the broadcast was, is Shax as competent a Roadhog as Urki is? And we were saying we're not expecting to see him pick that up. So far, that's staying very true. They're standing by their triple tank with the Junkrat.
Now, as you would expect, the quad tank is the one that takes positional advantage on the capture point. But the high ground position from Shax is very advantageous for the Junkrat to pepper those grenades in and start breaking through the Angry Titans quad tank, build up that ult charge and send the tire in. He's on 70% as the capture point unlocks still. The Angry Titans are on the point. There's an isolated Urki, but they're going to move back onto the point to try and contested a little bit longer. The Emil getting forced out, but they just can't break through the tank wall. So they're going for try and pick off some kills. Round the outside, Shax with the Riptide kill on the Lolsish. Should be a DMEC for Emil, but the Moira is there for the sustain. Not enough as he gets reinforcements coming in from Emil. And now he's going to come down. Looks like Angry Titans. They've got control of the points.
Quad tank constantly being forced out, and you saw a couple of really nice matrices coming out of Emil there to keep crucial members alive. First being the Zarya, second being the support. So it's not for want of trying for Orgless and Hungry. They just haven't got this high health bar as well. Health bars that are as high, you could say, as the side of Angry Titans. They haven't got the sustained damage in the DPS fight. They seem to be losing, which is a huge surprise.
Coalescence to try and eat through this lineup. Graviton Surge is successful for Orgless, but not for the Titans. They're not able to capitalize on it. Here comes the Riptide. Shax, where are you going to send it? Self-destruct going in. They're throwing ultimates everywhere onto this point. Lolsish shutting down that tire, and now Onigod's going to go around the side. There's the self-destruct from Elibo to find 4 as Onigod is going to clean up this fight on the Zarya. 48% and counting for the Titans.
Angry Titans know their win condition. They just keep on playing into this self-destruct, and every single time it's coming out, Elibo is getting returns from it. That is what you want from your self-destructs. I like how far they're changing over for the Reaper. This is what I like, because I was thinking to myself earlier on, if Orgless and Hungry run Quad Tank, then surely Angry Titans should switch over and go for the Reaper to match up against it. We saw what that did against Quad Tank last week against Singularity. They know that it works. They've been playing it quite consistently. They've run it on both rounds. And funnily enough, it was actually on Shrine and on Village last time round as well, so they're matching what they did last week.
Full charge, Onigod. He's going to get that ultimate very quickly. 80%, and it's still on ticking. 81% for the Angry Titans on the capture point, so fast reactions needed from Orgless and Hungry. Immortals got down. Graviton Surge on the terrain. Locks Tonic by himself, but exposes the rest of the team. Shax, he's not going to be put at a disadvantage by this. He finds both supports. The quad tank should fall apart here. Graviton Surge going to pull them all together. Where is the damage as Facility? Cuts through Lolsish, but Onigod, he's still here. He's still cutting through him. Where is the advantage you should have got from Orgless and Hungry? As it's only Immortal on the point to contest him as Onigod going down, self-destruct, clears off the point, buys enough time for the overtime to disappear. Angry Titans 2-0 Nepal.
Really, really good stuff coming out of the guys to get this series underway. And we spoke about the quad tank a lot in previous weeks, and coming into today, you can see why. Because name a single Graviton in that game that did not end in a team fight win.
The one that was shot out and eaten by a DMEC.
Maybe that one.
Yeah.
Except for that one.
Onigod shot it out into a meal.
Yeah, otherwise, though, everything was just super clean from them. There were no real obvious mistakes, bar AFOX getting picked off by the tire, for example. That's the kind of clean play I expected coming into today. Orgless have now got to find a way to match it.
Well, they're 1-0 up on the side of Angry Titans, and it's looking good because if they do that and they dethrone Orgless, that's big news for British Hurricane because they can take that first place spot. So the seeding is all up for grabs as we go into the second map. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're about to jump into our second map of the day between Orgless and Hungry and Angry Titans, who are actually leading this series and trying to upset that confirmed first place for Orgless.
You can see why they're being considered Titans by some, is because they are beginning to become a very difficult obstacle for any team to get over. You almost feel it was a blessing in disguise with that disbanded Hurricane facing them early on while they were still kind of finding their feet, because the last 3 weeks, they're looking unstoppable. Yeah, well, they are stoppable on this map, unfortunately. They are currently 2 and 3 on Numbani, but the only time that Orgless and Hungry have played on Numbani, they've won it. But they've only done that once, so it's not a massive data pool to pull from for them. A really nice thing that came through last week for the Angry Titans, they played against Singularity on this map, and they essentially schooled Singularity throughout the entire thing. Urki, admittedly, didn't have the option to play their quad tank too much, or they didn't find the opportunity to. He was running things like the Soldier. We saw Onigod going onto the Tracer. So a very different setup for these guys that many have regarded to be a bit of a quad tank-centric team. They did show us that they can play a lot more things. And what really impressed me was as soon as they scouted out that Singularity were coming towards them with quad tank, they immediately adapted on the fly, changing to the Reinhardt and the Junkrat to deal with that coming in. So they have shown they have got these elements where they can handle with the aggression coming out of the side of the other team. Orgless and Hungry, they're probably going to be aware of that. They'll have watched the same VODs most of us will. They'll know what they're trying to run on this map, and that's when Angry Titans have some chance to mix things up a bit, shall we say. Did he just run quad tank, though, for that first point? Hurricane did last week. Hurricane ran quad tank. It took 3 attacks and a few ults, but they made it work. We talked about it being the Transformer almost. It's 2 different compositions when you have the ultimates, just in the sheer aggression and the sheer power you have behind that composition. So it's definitely a possibility that Angry Titans will stick with it. Let's talk about what we think we know about what's going to happen on Orgless and Hungry. Putting Facility on the Soldier, allowing Shax to play his patented Tracer, and of course, the rest of the pieces fall into place behind them. Yeah, so it's kind of hybrid dive coming through with the Soldier being picked up in place of something like the Genji. So full dive, not what they're looking towards here. They want to almost try and draw Angry Titans in towards them. So sitting on this high ground, probably going to pile most of the members up there, bar maybe Shax. Or you'll see the 2 tanks sit on the opposite side of where the Soldier is now and dive straight across as soon as the attack comes in. That, of course, is assuming Angry Titans run the full dive, because we've seen teams bring out things like Pharmacy to try and disrupt them, the British Hurricane going with the quad tank. All kinds of things have come out just to try and mind game the opponent, as it were. It's kind of a game of chess. You're not 100% sure what's going on half the time until the strategy becomes revealed when it's too late. That certainly looks like full dive from the Angry Titans to me, Des. Except with the Mercy, so going for the res in that fight more than anything. I think that's why they're bringing her along as opposed to the Zen. It can work out sometimes, but because of the sightline denial, it's sensible to go with the Mercy with the verticality as well. Zen can't join you on the high ground. Well, Urki seems to be the point man, but Onigod's chasing forward in the race and kicks off the dive onto the high ground. They've got a lot of displacement to knock him off that position. Urki dashing away, he's riding the lightning a little bit too hard. He will go down to Facility on the Soldier, who's fell back into the alley. Now Shax in the face of the supports, in the face of Onigod. He's got the HP disadvantage, already using his recall. Everyone's backing away. Onigod takes down Ept, Elivo onto Immortal. So Angry Titans, they're pushing through at the moment. And Shax just needs to dance around, but he's by himself. He needs to wait for his reinforcements before he goes in. That was really weird, because Orgless and Hungry quite decisively won the first fight, bringing down 2 or 3 kills. And then some of the members are like, okay, that fight's won, let's just reset a bit. Angry Titans pushed on and brought down most of the supports and the Soldier, who was hanging out down the alleyway. They're finding themselves with the cap here, and Orgless and Hungry have got to regroup and go for a push now. But we've only got watching the flank just to make sure they can't let Shax come through on that angle. They're touching the point, but they've only got 1 foot in the pool. Pulse Bomb on to Tonic. He's going to dive back. He's not going to kill anyone. He's going to get the healing exactly how he needs it. Valkyrie being popped by Immortal. Going to keep the rest of Orgless and Hungry alive. There's the self-destruct. Takes out a meal when he's out of the mech. But the Dragon Blade from Urki is strong. He finds Facility. But there's the Battle Medic from the sky. Immortal shooting him out of the ground. A-Fox even getting on the action by shutting down Shax. But one thing's for certain with this one. Angry Titans, they've got point A. Absolutely have. Like I said, that really scrappy first fight that wasn't really properly closed out by Orgless and Hungry. Just let Angry Titans get the spawn advantage back in and slowly win that point out. It was a good initial dive and really good handling by Orgless and Hungry, dropping back into the alleyway. But look how deep Angry Titans are pushing them here. They want to make sure they get this second point as easily as possible. They're going for the stagger. They're trying to give themselves as much free breathing room as possible and really capitalize on the fact that Orgless and Hungry stuck around a little bit longer than they should have done on that first choke of point A. So still sticking with the full dive as well. I imagine here you see A-Fox switch off towards the Zen after he's burnt this ult. It's what you call a transition comp, where you see the Mercy ult comes online. It's very good in the fight. You don't want to just change off and sacrifice that ult completely. Keep hold of this for now, and then when you've used the ult in the next fight aggressively, like he's doing now, then you switch out to the Zen. They use the Transcendence on the side of Orgless. They're popping the Pulse Bomb and the tank visor, but Facility can't cut through the tank line. He's found Onigod. He's dashed away, but he didn't dash hard enough.
as Only God will fall to the target-rich environment of Facility. And this is the pushback from Orgless and Hungry, and they're trying to regain control as they're hunting down the rest of Angry Titans on the retreat.
It's a pushback, but it's a very hard one. They burn 5 ults in essence to make this play happen, which is a large expenditure just to hold the point in the streets here. You know you're likely going to lose this next fight, if not the one after. And yes, you might run a minute down, but that time bank is looking really healthy for the Titans right now. Still 3.5 minutes to go, and here comes their counter engage.
Payload still in motion. Shax going to hide with the team. So the rest of Angry Titans are escorting this through. They're getting it down to the final bench. Deep dive coming in with the play to follow up. Great disengage from Immortal, but Lolsish will still beat him down. Urki doesn't find anyone with the blade, but the pressure was enough to create the chaos that Angry Titans needed to capitalize.
Quite surprised Afox is still choosing to stick on the Mercy, but what he was doing for all of Urki's blade there was just keeping the heals on him for as long as he possibly could. Goes down once again with the ult, probably going to use the same thing again. Orgless and Hungry with a pretty good hold, but this payload is right near the end of the zone, so next fight is a big one for them to try and hold, just as their next rotation of ultimates are about to come back online.
Huge final stand for that point coming out from Orgless and Hungry, being able to shut down Angry Titans. They were a bit staggered and a little bit separated around the map, shall we say, at that point. So not the hardest feat, but good to regain control with kind of an equal spawn distribution as well, if you look at the proximity to the spawn rooms.
Shax trying to get a bit cheeky there and just scout out what was going on. Had to run very quickly, and here comes the aggressive ult from Fox once again, trying to go for that dive.
Where Fox goes up into the sky, going to get the resurrection onto Lolsish, but there's attack visor from Facility in his face. No way you can get away pulling off a cheeky one like that. Both the supports going down, as well as Urki Immortal, showing down Only God and Elivo. Knows what that means. It's time to jump off the edge of the map.
Yep, so he complimented Urki Soldier and said that was really good last week. Well, this week it's all about the Facility show. Speaking before the broadcast to Legday as well, he was saying probably looking at the flexibility we see coming through from the DPS, I'd probably favour Shax and Facility a bit more in terms of that. You can see why, because Facility's Soldier absolutely clean. Shax, as of yet, really to show too much more than what we saw in the previous round with the Junkrat and the Tracer. There's still plenty of time left in this series.
Well, Only God, I'm on board with him at the moment. You can see the flank. He constantly runs into Shax on the flank. They have a similar thought process of where they're going to go on this one. Self-destruct, jumping into the back, forcing everyone inside the room. Didn't give him enough time to capture that point, but there's the dive coming onto the back line to try and help out Tonic, who's Primal Raging. Now, they've got the Pulse Bomb available. He's got a lot of targets to throw to. He throws it in the middle, doesn't get anyone. Afox with D-Mech onto Emil. Immortal shutting down Lolsish. He's being a very bloodthirsty Lucio today as Urki cuts through Emil. Only God winning that Tracer duel against Shax and goes to Tonic for seconds.
Much better fight coming out of them, and it's not purely because of Afox switching over to the Zen, but it definitely added a lot with the Discord coming down to the Primal and Monkey. He had to jump away. He could not hang around in that fight or he would have evaporated incredibly quick. Now they've got that Transcendence then coming online for him, they can push forward and go for a very aggressive blade. But sticking on that Mercy has cost them a good 2 minutes they could have otherwise used to push towards the third point.
They now got themselves that Transcendence. Going to be pretty much available. X is already sitting on his right now, but Afox 90%. Going to have it for the next fight. It's very quick to build that up on Zenyatta. Shax still taking the pop shots with the clip. Trying to get in close to make sure to damage. The beat gets dropped
very early,
preemptively by Orgless and Hungry, but I think it's to start off the charge. It's a rallying cry, but they're pushed back on the Angry Titans. Only Afox being lost, but the pressure and the aggression is enough for Angry Titans to fall back.
Yeah, a lot of investment just to get the one return kill for Orgless and Hungry, but it does push Angry Titans back again. If 1 kill or 3 kills, it doesn't matter because the stagger is in effect regardless, and they have to wait for this to come back online. They've got 4 ults available on the side of Titans, but you're playing into the Transcendence of Eps here. That's going to make it very hard to commit anything like the Blaze.
Self-destruct got sent out into the back. It's not going to do anything. And now you can see Luddy trying to avoid Shax. Did a fairly good job using the terrain and the speed boost. Now Shax on the back line he's exposed to. There's the Dragon Blade for Urki, cutting through Tonic, having to deflect and fall back. Cuts through Shax immediately with the dash. Takes out the second DPS and the threat onto the back line. Here comes Lolsish, jumping in to regroup with his team as Facility, just peppering shots on the Soldier. Beat gets dropped. Here comes the aggression from Angry Titans. Lolsish falls down in that engage, and Elivo takes out Eps. Emil answers onto Urki, so they've shut down the Angry Titans push, and this is where the payload has to take a breather for now.
I thought that's when we'd see the layering of the ults come through from Angry Titans, and Afox would burn the Transcendence as Luddy's sound barrier expired, but instead he sat pretty far back, didn't choose to commit to the fight. They're going to save this one for the next one. Look what they're swapping towards, Tridd. They're going for this quad tank. Need to see a Moira come through in these final 60 seconds, or this will not work for them, though.
They're the Moira, so they're opting to get rid of the Lucio, keep hold of the Transcendence, and have A-Fox on the Zenyatta to use that and push everyone through, or as a backup plan when it all goes south.
A-Fox is just stuck in transition mode this game, it feels, because they really need a Lucio to make this quad tank work. But instead they're just going to go for the more slow push, stick on the payload, and try and hope that if they can secure that ground around the payload, it moves forward there. But without that Lucio, it can really cost them.
They're already using the Transcendence to keep some people alive, so A-Fox might be able to get that fast switch if they can line it up. But I think he's going to be stuck on Zenyatta for the rest of the game. Here comes the tack visor, Emil bumping Lolsish, exposing him to damage. Only God's going to get cut down as well. Angry Titans being forced back, and I don't think they've got enough time in the bank for them to mount a second attack.
This is why you need a Lucio, because you will get run down by the speed and mobility coming out of Orgless and Hungry, and you can't do anything. If you turn around and try and go for a counter engage, they speed boost away. Even the natural 30% speed boost that Lucio gives you is more than enough to be able to outrun or catch to this tank composition as you want. This is their final attempt though, Tridd, and still no Lucio. Elivo
is touching the point to keep the dreams alive. Shax looking for something on the back line. Only got taken out Tonic, so they're one tank shy. Pulse Bomb, self-destruct, they're available. They've been used. Elivo with the D-Mech onto Emil, so he has no chance of using it himself. They're going to walk this in with a quad tank. Orgless and Hungry, they're in full retreat. They're going to have to regroup like Angry Titans do and come out the gate swinging. Only God taking out Emil with no mech. Pulse Bomb in the middle. Epps is going to finish off Urki. There's a jump in from Tonic onto the back line, but they're doing well at cutting him back. Elivo taking out Epps. A-Fox, the only casualty for the side of Angry Titans so far, but Luddy going to take out Shax. Lolsish onto Tonic. They're walking this one in. Angry Titans, they finish it off even under such pressure.
Good stuff. Once they managed to get rid of Shax's Tracer harassing the backline, it was a very easy, just standard walk forward. Again, no Lucio, no speed boost. No problem to these guys. They were more than happy with the damage threat that the Zenyatta was bringing out, bringing down these mega tanks. Again, Lucio would have probably served the same job as trying to keep those, or the backline Moira alive. But seeing Luddy and A-Fox switching roles, it was quite bizarre, and also a real nice bit of flexibility that it's nice to have in your supports.
It's chaos out of the circumstances. Obviously, that's not what they would like to do in their regular situation, but when you need the Moira to make the quad tank work and you've got a Transcendence, you just can't get rid of it. You need to keep it up.
As the situation dictates. They played to it, they managed to complete, so you really can't fault them too much for that. Now, on the other side, I imagine you see the same kind of thing coming out of Angry Titans here that we just saw come out of Orgless and Hungry on their defense. We spoke about Urki's Soldier, going to try and match that against Facilities from last round. Now the big question is, what do Orgless and Hungry do to try and match this? Could go for something like the Pharmacy. We've seen it come out of these guys quite a few times. Or they go as crazy as we've seen British Hurricane go and just run quad tank, because why the hell not?
Orgless isn't a team we really peg as a quad tank team, so that would be really out there if they went for it. Even it's out there for British Hurricane. They don't like really running it that much either, despite having
when you see Hurricane run quad tank, you know anyone can run quad tank, right? It feels like it at this point.
Well, they have a very good roster for it, but less about them, more about these guys. We know Angry Titans are going to run that now, so that's confirmed. They're all out of the spawn room. No bamboozles coming out. So, Luddy on the Mercy, A-Fox on the Moira, so they're just switching around the support roles again. Very similar to what they did on the offense. But why don't you run the Lucio here, or why are you reliant on having Moira and Mercy? Why that duo here?
I think because the mobility they've got from every single member on this team, everyone has got some kind of mobility to be able to escape from the all-in dive that comes from Orgless and Hungry. They're probably expecting the full dive to come in because, as Legday said, these are one of the best full dive teams that we see in Contenders. If anyone's going to dive you on this map, it's going to be Orgless and Hungry. So you draft for that in expectation. And quite as you'd expect, Orgless and Hungry are saying, mind game time, let's take the Pharah and the Mercy instead.
There's some elements of dive to that lineup, but they're running Pharah Mercy as well. Urki, Soldier, all on him to shut this down. He can get some support and have some space built around him, but ultimately it's his aim that decides whether they're going to shut it down. Defense Matrix, brilliant, up there blocking the rockets, and Urki taking Facility out in close range. So they've lost one of the points of their fork. Orgless and Hungry, they're not going to be able to tuck into a nice ball of noodles so far.
Yeah, the thing with the hybrid dive comp that you see, so what you've got coming out of Orgless and Hungry here with the Pharah is it's a very slow dive. You're looking for a trigger to really get that dive underway, and one of those is either landing a pick, Facility landing a good amount of damage onto a key member like one of the supports so you can go for the dive. Like now would have been a good time when they saw A-Fox go down to about, I think it was about 20% of his HP. That was a trigger. They're looking for those before they go for the dive, and here they go.
They're trying to create their own trigger by just throwing tanks at them, hoping there'll be some displacement for Angry Titans, but they're holding that ground very strongly at the moment. And only God, he's going low, but he's not out yet. Coalescence, not aiming up to the sky. It's been cancelled out. Now Facility, close to that barrage. Where's he going to go? There's Tactical Visor being used. They want to go straight for the Pharah, but it's Lolsish with the Goomba Stomp to take him out. Tonic shutting down Urki after only getting one kill with that Tac Visor, but Orgless and Hungry, they're on the point. They're looking for more. Self-destruct available for Emil. He's going to want to hold on to that one. Urki gets resurrected by Luddy, but straight to be rammed by the Diva. Self-destruct giving some clearance, giving some space. Here comes Lolsish onto the Mercy. Self-destruct being put onto return by Elivo. Takes Facility out of the sky. They need a resurrection from Mercy. They need to huddle that corpse and stop the res from coming out. But the rest of Angry Titans fall onto the point. Here is a huge primal rage. This could be big with a knockout onto Emil, onto Tonic. And guess what, Immortal? He knows it's over. He jumps off as well.
I think out of expectation, they knew that the Primaling Monkey was going to jump on them and knock them off the map. So it was like, see ya. I'll just throw myself off before you get that opportunity. So a bit of a scrappy initiation at first. Again, no real trigger kind of started that fight. They just thought, right, well, let's see how this goes, right? We've got a really good tank lineup for Tonic and Emil. Let's just dive in and hope for the best. But Angry Titans did deal with that aggression very, very well. Still, 2 minutes left, about half the time on the attack. It feels like it's been so much longer, but hasn't yet played out for them. So, is it time to switch things up? Facility has got hold of that ultimate. If they can get a combo off in a good spot, mind you, that's when things can change because you're looking towards Emil.
Taking out Only God already. The barrage from Facility could be the decider of this one. He nails a good one. It's going to be solid. Tonic's already taken out Urki, so he hasn't got that threat of damage out for him. He might need to hold on to this one. He doesn't need to use it. The rest of Orgless and Hungry have forced through the point and kept Angry Titans so far away, they're going to have to go through an entire battalion to get back and try and reclaim this.
So there was their big trigger this time, with Shaxx being able to bring down Only God before the fight had even really began. Bit of a mistake on Only there, trying to take a fight, I think, before there was ever another scrap underway, you could say. It gave Shaxx all the freedom to get involved and start picking up kills.
The problem with the Only God Shaxx lineup is, like we mentioned in the previous round, or the previous attempt of Bombani, they keep running into each other. They're taking similar routes, both defensively and offensively. A skirmish was bound to happen at some point.
Still looking towards Facility with this ultimate, though. Hasn't seen any real cause to bring it out yet. More just kind of getting these harassing rockets down, just reminding Angry Titans that he is indeed in the sky and can't be ignored. But there's a sticky onto Epps.
Taking out Epps, huge source of healing going down. Didn't have that ultimate, but he's close to it. Urki with the Helix rockets onto Shaxx. They're forcing Orgless and Hungry back. They've got the advantage and they know it. And they want Orgless and Hungry to realize that they need to bring something out here to break this hold.
Angry Titans do pull off a very good defense when they got this soldier. I think several times last week we saw 3-4 kills coming through from Urki when he brings out the Tac Visor. Reason you're holding on to the Mercy here, first point you understand it's for the res, second point you're holding on to it for that damage boost onto the soldier. It just makes him so much more potent in the backline.
Seeing on that pulse bomb, going to walk through the biotic field and get that healing. Here comes the self-destruct up into the air. Facility's already found two. Elivo answers with two of his own with the D-Mech. There's a sticky onto Luddy. No more supports, and Shaxx will take down A-Fox. Only Urki standing, and a nice little pistol whip will shut him down as Only God sneaks in there as well for the Hexa.
Elivo, I think Poker would like a word. These are some beautiful self-destructs coming out so far today. Multiple kills with every single one that he's thrown out. I've seen maybe one or two where nothing has come from it because of shields. But a really smart placement, really well done, because the thing is there, he threw it out as the enemy D.Va threw hers out. So, well, his out. Emil was throwing his ultimate out at the time, couldn't get back in mech in time, and paid for it from the own self-destruct coming out of Elivo's.
Coalescence to kick the fight off, an answer from Epps, who now has that transcendence to keep everyone alive, especially Immortal. Here comes the Tac Visor from Urki, pulse bomb thrown out. That's the primal raging Winston in the center of a room with a bunch of supports. He's going to jump out. Tac Visor being used by Facility this time. Hopefully it's more impactful. Shaxx has found a kill. Emil onto Lolsish. They're trying to get through this Winston barrier. Nice disengage from Luddy, but I feel like they're going to come back at them yet again. The Shaxx gets the D-Mech onto Elivo. There's a double self-destruct from Emil, so he can do it just as well as Elivo can. They dive onto the backline, but Orgless and Hungry force out the final section of this map.
There's a bit of time wasted from Angry Titans last time round, sticking on the Mercy for so long, but Orgless and Hungry probably going to stick with it, given the basis that Facility is still rolling on this soldier. Angry Titans have responded. They're going for the quad tank as their final last bastion of defense, and this time round, they've got the Lucio.
I feel like that's their panic button at this point. They're going to walk into a room with two keys,
it's unlock
the casing nicely, flip it up, smack that quad tank button, and hopefully it's enough to stall the aggression from Orgless and Hungry. Urki, he's already having a little bit of attention paid to him by Shaxx, who's flanked around that backside. Payload's not been stopped, it's still in motion. There's a coalescence again from A-Fox. Building up towards that Tac Visor is Facility. He's on the full retreat. He's got it in his pocket. He's got a Valkyrie's Mercy in the sky. Gonna start going through. Has to pull back because of that self-destruct. But Tonic capitalized on it by taking out Elivo. And look at this, the aggression. Voltage in his face, shutting down all avenues of attack with that barrier. We've got a primal rage in the back. That was an Eaton. It's Graviton Surge, Only God having it taken out. Urki, taking out Epps, Emil onto Lolsish. The Shaxx still leading the charge, still around. No one's shut him down just yet, but he's in the middle of so many tanks. Who's he going to take out here? He gets hooked. That's surely the end of him as Urki shows why he's a fantastic Roadhog.
Good grabs in that fight, but very scrappy and back and forth between the two. And even for Angry Titans getting their ultimate eaten by Emil, good play by him, still managed to win the fight out. It's just so hard to be able to unseat this competition when they find themselves in a comfortable position. And Moira, quite rightly on fire, got the Coalescence on side, the healing coming out all the time there. Orgless and Hungry just don't really have the capability to burst them out. Big change coming out of Dezachu though. Going over to the Sombra, they're looking to get a flank coming through now with both the Tracer and the Sombra and try and divide the attention of Angry Titans. That is how you break a quad tank apart. Angry Titans so far though, they have not been broken. This could be the first time we see it.
Unlikely that you see a quad tank using the high ground positioning, but they went for it this time. Self-destruct flies over, gets no one. Shax takes out Lolsish with a possible confined space. They're going to force him into this room and make him play their game. But now, Angry Titans trying to get out, and they're running straight into the firing line of Orgless and Hungry with the hack onto Urki. He's got no healing, he's got no hook. Shax going to be the one to pick it up. Onto Luddy as well. So now Orgless and Hungry with 40 seconds to go on the final stretch.
Shax popping off in that final fight, and with Dezachu bringing a few hacks to the party as well, there's not much you can do to stop the aggression. They hack one of these tanks, they are like a fish out of water. They can do nothing. Final attempt now for Angry Titans to fight back.
Pulse bomb again on Shax. There's the Graviton Surge. Wasn't eaten this time, but it's Transcendence to soak it out. No kills happening. Finally, Elivo with the self-destruct onto Immortal. Here comes the beat. It's being dropped by Angry Titans, keeping them alive. Facility finding an alternate angle, but he's still being chased down by Elivo. Gets the stealth, 2 HP, ran down by the mech. And now Angry Titans, they're on the backside of the payload. They're keeping Orgless well away from this. With 7 seconds left, they have to go in hard. Onigon taken out by Epps, so they're missing one of their tanks. They have to regroup, they have to go in now. There's the Earthshatter from Lolsish to stem the flow of Orgless and Hungry. Self-destruct, didn't find anyone. Luddy taking out Shax. No more flank for them. A remake onto Elivo, a hook onto Emil. He's about to lose that himself. Coalescence, but a cancellation by the EMP of Facility doesn't result in anything, as Orgless and Hungry have already lost too much. They're hemorrhaging players at the point. Angry Titans go 2-0 in this series.
What a great result for these guys coming into the halftime as well. Shax dying in that final fight, but it is going to cost your team that final fight because you need that double flanking threat coming through from the Sombra and the Tracer. Big question for me around Facility not using that EMP a little bit soon. I'm not sure 100% where he was at the back end of that fight, but realistically that EMP should have been the big engage for them. And over time, it's not an ideal place to fight him for those guys, and well, dropped the series down so far to Angry Titans.
Angry Titans, who are still maintaining that strategy of, if it all goes wrong, we will pick quad tank. And our quad tank is exceedingly good.
Absolutely, and you can see why, because they play it so well and so solidly. A couple of times it looked like it was coming undone in the initial fight before that final one. But hey, they managed to turn things around, pull it back, and so far, again, they're looking pretty much uncontested on this composition.
Well, 2-0 in the series. We're going to go into half-time and see what our analysts think about it. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break.